Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by now. Here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Hump Day edition of the JP Peterson Show. Hump Day! So glad to be here. We got a ton of stuff to get to on the show this morning. Every morning, 2 hours, Tampa Bay sports-centric stuff just for you folks. Saw some people complaining on Facebook the other day about the state of radio in Tampa Bay. I said, hey, bro, local podcast. There's tons of great ones. Try mine out. 2 hours each and every day. We did 10 to 12. You want to watch it live, then listen to it as a podcast. It's all here for you. We've been doing this a long time. So, yeah, we had Jason Light on last week. We got Bruce Arians on today. Saw him last night at an event. We're going to cover all the Rays stuff, the Bucs stuff. We got Scott Reynolds on from the Pewter Report, Greg Auman from Fox Sports. I mean, what do you know? What else you need? You don't have to sit through 9-minute commercial breaks. You can fast forward to them if you want, but go see our sponsors. We love our sponsors, and we're an independent voice. We're an independent voice.
Sounds like that dude was the product of that country song so many years ago that described him. He was looking for sports in all the wrong places.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. Yeah. That sounds like a new country song that we need to do. All right. Keep singing while I close this door. You know how this bugs me.
We just don't have time for tomfoolery on this busy sports Wednesday on FanStream Sports. I'm over here tomfoolering around, and we got so much serious sports to get into. Review the PGA Championship as well with Mr. John Gerber later.
How could I forget that? Making you money. We're going to do the preview of the PGA and make you money with his great picks, as he always does. So we got Pete Rose to talk about. Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe,
and apparently 16 other baseball people that I don't know who they are.
I never heard of.
I didn't see the list. I didn't.
Don't think we need to talk about them. No. Yeah. So when Ray's game was pretty cool last night as well. So we got lots to get to. Thank you guys for joining us, though. We really appreciate you. So many of you have found us. Many more finding us each and every day. We love doing it, and it's needed. It's really needed in this market, especially. It really is. You know, you want to get more voices, varied voices. You want to hear the same thing, same corporate radio. You don't want to hear that. You want to hear independent voices. That's what we bring you here. So we, all of it's needed, right? You know, they do their thing. We do our thing, but more voices, the better. And we really appreciate you guys supporting this show and supporting our great sponsors. That's how we get it all done. So make sure you send them a note, go by their businesses, tell them you heard it on the show. We'd really appreciate it. So, all right, let's get it going. I'm not gonna. The Pete Rose thing it's topical. We're gonna get to it, but it's also a little tired. We could.
Especially after the events of last October when he tragically passed away. Well, I say tragically, he was old, but he passed away, and we talked at length about it back then.
Right. And the arguments don't change. Just the circumstances change, and there's a couple of new tidbits in it. So we'll get into it. But I've always been the mind, and I may be a contrarian here, that Pete should not have a bust in the Hall of Fame. That's my feeling. I'm
on the other side of the fence.
He's widely represented in the Hall of Fame. In case you've never been there, he's all over the Hall of Fame. His bats, his gloves, everything's in there of all of his great accomplishments. But he does not have a bust. So we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later on. But I want to get into the Rays last night, the Rays on the field. Now, that was an entertaining baseball game. That kept me from watching hockey games.
Slaminero.
Junior Slaminero. I don't know who came up with that. It was Wechter or Rich or I don't know who did, but we love it. Junior Slaminero with a grand slam last night to kind of salt things away from all the leads that the Rays gave away last night. But listen, it was great. They were hitting the baseball. I'd rather watch that 11-9 game than those snoozers that we've seen at Steinbrenner Field. They're brutal. So I'd like to see this team start hitting again. And again, for all those, we got to get a little more seasoning for our Chandler Simpson. Shut up. Look at him last night. A double and a run early on that comes up in the ninth in a key situation, down a run, and against a tough closer and Jeff Hoffman and slaps the ball, the 99-mile-an-hour fastball, right back up the middle for a base hit. I love his approach. You know who he reminds me of a little bit with that swing? Pete Rose.
Yeah.
Pete Rose. I mean, his level swing, I love that level swing he has. He doesn't try to jack it up and get elevation, lift. He just slaps the ball and gets on base. Man, where are those players? We need those players in the game. Get action on the base pass. People moving, not strikeouts and home runs and walk. No, slap that ball. Contact. Let's go. And gets an RBI, gets on base, makes things happen. Love watching that kid. And you think he should be going back to AAA, you're bananas. Bananas talk. So love him. And Caminero. Man, this kid, that pitch he took last night in the ninth, in case you haven't, well, we have it right here for you. Let's cue it up. Watch where the location of this pitch is and how he hits it 419 feet.
Launched to left field. It's a grand slam.
Grand slam.
Junior Caminero has driven them all home, and the Rays with a 5-run ninth take an 11-7 lead.
JP, that pitch was a foot inside.
It was?
With an exit velocity of 108.8 miles per hour.
Tell me about that. Do we get the replay in here? Oh, there it is. Look where that pitch is.
To left field.
He misses his spot badly, and it's not, it's kind of a spinner.
Slam.
Well, I don't care.
Junior Caminero has driven them all home.
And if you look at the replay, he didn't really barrel that up. It was a little bit towards the trademark, TBH.
Yeah.
As the kids say. It was a little bit towards it, and he hit that mofo 419
It was low key. It was low key, lower on the bat.
It was low key. It was low. TBH. It was low key. That was
TBH. I hate that. God.
Yes. Of course, the drama was not over because the bullpen was gasoline last night.
Yeah.
They were not good. They were not good. I was a little and Kolosky put this on Twitter as well. Why do you not bring Montgomery in to face Varsho in the 8th? And go lefty on lefty there. Montgomery has to come in later on to get the final out, which was great. Got him on that one, and also, if I'm not mistaken, that Danny Jansen was on second in the 9th, and who was it? Belau. Somebody got a base hit, and then they put Christopher Morel in as a pinch runner. Like if he was on second, he would have scored. We wouldn't have needed another hit. End up getting the grand slam anyway. But so, Cash, some curious moves again. So I'm not sure where Cash is at right now. But anyway, they got the win last night, and that was
tanking on purpose. I mean, that's almost what it looks like.
It's just a lot of it is just curious stuff, and I don't. I'm sure he has good reasons for all of it.
Yeah.
I just, my brain does not work analytically. Just be quite honest. My brain works for, playing baseball since I was 6 months old, and watching the game my entire life, the old school stuff that you're supposed to do in certain situations and certain matchups. And those things seem pretty obvious to me. But what's great is you guys are starting to hit. Brandon Lau got a big hit last night. Jankowski, Chandler Simpson, obviously doing a great, and Aranda. Man, Jonathan Aranda, watching this cat hit is just a joy. Every freaking at-bat is a joy. The guys were talking about it last night, and it just reminds you of watching the greats. I hate this is hyperbole, but just watching Tony Gwynn, watching Rod Carew, these guys were so quiet at the plate, man. They just sat there like, I'm just kind of chilling. Oh, that's a little bit outside. That's a little bit out. That's a little bit. Oh, that's a fat one. Boom. Just quiet, and their recognition is perfect. They don't swing at balls out. Even when this knucklehead umpire is calling balls out of the strike zone off the plate, around his leg, he takes the pitch. He's like, yeah, you missed it, but I don't care. I'm waiting for my pitch. I'm so freaking locked in right now. And 2 pitches later, he hits one 433 feet. Ba-boom, with no effort whatsoever. Just squares it up, nice and quiet, to the ball. Boom. And it's just that watching that guy hit, he looks like a 3-hit night every single time. He is so locked in and so balanced and so good right now. And it's a joy to watch. And I don't give a crap. Again, right-hander, left-hander, ambidextrous octopus. I don't care who's on the freaking mound. That guy is in my lineup. He'll learn how to hit lefties. He'll learn how to hit them. Trust me. He'll figure it out. And he's certainly going to be better than any 140 right-handed jamoke you put in there in Curtis Mead. So, my God, stop with that nonsense. He's in the lineup every single night. Chandler Simpson's in the lineup every single night. All right, Around is in the lineup every single night. These younger players have got to play. Stop with the silliness of some of these lineups. And I think we're trending towards that more, so that's good. So all in all, just a great win last night for the Rays, 11-9 over the Blue Jays. Now they've won 8 of 9 on the road. 8 of their last 9 on the road. They're 8-5 on the road. 11-17 at this time.
Wow.
I don't know. Baseball's baseball, man. And why they're playing better on the road than they are at home, I don't know. It's the lights. It's the what? Well, both teams, they're getting out homered dramatically at home. Both teams play under the same conditions. So I don't buy into any of that. I just don't. I don't know. Now, obviously they had a home field advantage at the Trop. Because of the particular idiosyncrasies, the craziness of the Trop. So they had a home field advantage, and they played to it. They really did. And I think it's been a big part of their success. They don't necessarily have that at the Stein, so they've got to adjust a little bit. But they're playing well on the road. They're, I think, a game and a half out of second, so they're right there. I still don't think this is a year where they're going to do anything dramatic. Obviously, the Yankees, the Red Sox, none of these teams are blowing us away. I think the Yankees will find a little bit of a groove and maybe pull away. I think the Red Sox might do the same. I think the Rays are overmatched from a talent standpoint, but it doesn't matter right now. They can get some young players, some critical playing time, get them to learn how to play in the majors, and maybe get going next year when we have new ownership and they go spend some more on the team.
Fingers.
Yeah.
Fingers.
I mean, and I talked to some key figures last night at the event, vis-a-vis baseball. And there are definitely things going on behind the scenes. They reiterated that I got a couple more names of big money guys that have been added to the mix. So it's moving. There's things going on behind the scenes, folks. I know you're not hearing a lot, but that's good because that's when things are getting done. That's when things are getting done. I's are getting dotted, T's are getting crossed. So I can't tell you when. Don't know when. It's still up to Stu. That's still the wild card in this thing. But if we can have all the Brody Brazil videos you want, all the Mike Bianchi columns you want. There's nothing wrong with any of it. Love it. Fantastic. Man, not saying anything bad about any of them. And that's Mike's job. That's Brody. That's what they do. They hype it up, and that's all good. It doesn't mean they're getting any closer to getting a team. It means, and I don't mean this pejoratively, and that it just means nothing. It's just talk. There's no substance there in terms of with the commissioner, with baseball, with local politicians, commissioners, and stuff. They're not going all in here. All right, because they know what many people know, that this is going to get done in Tampa Bay and specifically in Tampa. So it's kind of a waste. That's why they're not specifically going after the Rays. Smart move.
Yeah.
They're not specifically targeting the Rays because they know they got a much better chance at an expansion team. I think that's going to be a little rough, but just because of proximity. But you never know. You never know. All right, so let's get to a little bit of Bucs football. Couple things yesterday. All the defensive coaches were chatting. We're going to talk to Scott Reynolds and Greg Auman. They were both there for that yesterday, so we'll get more details on that tomorrow. I think the headline here, honestly, is this is going to be a very different defense structurally, and I think scheme-wise. I think Todd Bowles is reworked his coaching staff in a lot of different ways, and I think he's giving up a little bit of responsibility, and I think you're going to see a simplification in terms of what the back end is doing, and I think that's much needed. And I think you're going to see guys playing faster and more aggressively. So we're going to lean more on the talent of the players and less on trying to trick teams, zone drops and things like that. I think that's where this is all headed. And I think it's being universally accepted. And because you got to change as a coach, you got to evolve in this league. People get used to what you're doing. Smart coaches evolve. And that's what Todd Bowles is. He's a very smart coach. You know, he's not, I think maybe a little bit earlier in his career, he was a little bit more stubborn and intransigent about certain things. But I think recently and the last few years, he's become much more malleable, if you will, and right. Be able to, you know, go get a full-time game manager coach, right? Go change your coaching staff a little bit, tweak some things, and let's simplify and let the players play a little bit more. I like that. And we'll get into that a little bit more with Scott and Greg about that. Now, there was a weird quote going around yesterday through some of the media, and I don't remember who got it initially or posted it on X, but of all people, George Edwards speaking about the secondary and how improved it was and how now there's pressure on the defense because the expectations have been raised. It's obviously not a verbatim quote here, but I'm trying to summarize what he said. And to me, that's a good thing. You know, you played very loosely. You lacked turnovers. You lacked pressure on the quarterback. And George Edwards came out and was just talking about how this thing's been revamped and there's pressure on them, on the defensive coaches, which means, and he didn't say this, but to me, that means there's a lot of pressure on Todd Bowles now as your defensive coordinator. When you've got a team, when you got a team and your head coach is the defensive coordinator, you expect that team to be good on defense. Yeah.
And it's not the strongest side of the ball, but they've got some new guys coming in. That secondary has been retooled a little bit with some very young players with high expectations. And I just think you need to see really good things from this defense really early on, and we'll see. I agree, 100%. And you can't be 29th in pass defense if you're, Todd Bowles and you're the head coach of the defense. You can't. And it's something that I talked about and asked Levante David last night, and we're going to run that interview tomorrow. And Levante is really high on this defense, especially with these newcomers that are coming in. Jacob Parrish, who made a huge splash at rookie camp. Yeah. That dude's a player, dog. He's a ball hawk. And I love Ben Morrison. Just watching the dude run and his interviews and then watching his tape at Notre Dame from his freshman and sophomore. I mean, that dude can play. He is a first-round corner, no doubt about it. So you got two really good corners that you're putting in the mix, and physical guys, which I think we were lacking a little bit with Jamel Dean. Saw Jamel last night, by the way. He's the coolest dude. Great guy. Everybody loves him. We just wish he could be a little bit more durable. Right. But anyway. Did you see the speaking of your secondary there, the team posted on their I think I saw it on their YouTube channel. It's probably on their X too, but the Shiloh Sanders being introduced to the locker room and walking around and getting his helmet fitted, right, and all that stuff. They followed him around, and he walked into his locker, where his locker is, and, of course, beautiful locker room, all that, high-tech. And they have all of the attire, the new clothes and stuff, and the gloves and everything there for him to wear, right? And he's looking through it. He's like, is this mine? Is all this mine? And, off camera, there's a yeah. And he's like, I never got this much stuff combined anywhere where Coach Prime coached. He'll fire his dad again. Took a jab at his dad. I thought that was great. Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, I can tell you this. I had a little conversation with Jason Light last night, and he asked me to keep it off the record. But I can characterize it. And it was my good buddy Brian Fasulo of course, jumps right in. Tell me about this Shador thing. And Jason's like, I'm not talking about that, but he did go out of his way to give a couple stories about Shiloh, and the stories were like, wow, this kid is super humble, really impressed us on and off the field. The way he handled himself was really, really impressive. And he told me a couple stories about how he went above and beyond, and he wants to, because he doesn't want to make a big deal. Shiloh just wants to be another player and get his way. But I could just characterize it as he did a great job this weekend of impressing his teammates, being extremely humble,
not being that guy. There were no camera crews, none of that shenanigans going on. He was just playing football and doing his best, putting in extra time, making sure the staff around him, not just the players, teammates, but the staff around them knew that he wasn't big time in anybody. And you know what? Good for him. Good for him. I think, college is one thing. You can act a certain way in college, but when you get to the pros, it's a different deal. And when your dad's not there, it's a different deal.
Right.
And I applaud both of these young men because the Shador is pretty, from what you hear about the reports, pretty much the same way. They understand now that this is a business, and they are no different than any other player on that team, or shouldn't act that way. And
his dad, neither one of them, their dad's not around to save him right now if something gets fouled up.
Right.
And, I talked about this when they announced the signing of Shiloh Sanders. I don't liken him to Shador as much as, number one, he's older, right? He's a couple years older than Shador. And number two, he has experienced football away from his father. Shador never did. Shiloh played 2 years of college ball at South Carolina before Dion got the head coaching job at Jackson State, and he transferred. And I'm almost thinking the more I read about him and the more I look into his whole thing, Shiloh I'm talking about, I'm not 100% sure maybe that was his number one choice, was to go play for his dad. I think he was doing fine at South Carolina, but it was more a deal of family duty, right? Man, I got to go play with my brother and my dad. Like, I get it, but he may understand
be a mentor
that.
to Shador. Yeah,
he may understand that was not the best thing
by
for
the
him.
way, transferring from South Carolina to Jackson State is a huge sacrifice
from the SEC.
Huge sacrifice. I covered Jackson State in my first job, and I know the facilities are better now, but not much. But not much. In 1987, it's bad. It's really bad. So yeah, I was not, as you know, and I was not very high on Shiloh coming here, with the stories that I've heard in college. And you know what? That's college. And I'll give the kid the benefit of the doubt that he has clearly flipped the switch and said, this is a totally different deal. I'm a pro now, and I'm an undrafted free agent just trying to make the team. Well, good on you.
And you know what?
Go get it.
One of the most notable things out of that little video I was just talking about was when he was kind of looking at everything in the clothes, and he kind of looked around and he goes, man, I'm in the NFL now.
Yeah.
And I think it was dawning on him, like, holy crap. And in my head, I'm like, well, you're not really. You got to make the team first. But I get it. I understand.
Yeah, I think he's got a good shot. Make the practice squad, definitely. 53 is going to be a tough one, but work your way up. Work your way up, young man.
It'd be a wonderful surprise.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, I want to get to this before we jump into Scott. I want to get to the Bruce Arians thing because he talks. Beginning of this, we're talking about the charity event last night, which is awesome and a big deal. The Guardian Ad Litem thing that he's involved with is that his wife has been running forever, and you'll hear him talk about that. But towards the end, I asked him about this team and some of the players. He's very high on this team, very high on this Buccaneers team. Here we go. This is my one-on-one with Bruce Arians last night.
Jamel, you coming in? You want to do this?
Oh, no, this is all about the game.
That was
another wonderful event here. Tell us about tonight. We have dinner with the Buccaneer.
Yeah, it's a fantastic event. We know we're here. Thank you, Mike Stewart, and all the group here at AVA to host us, and a bunch of players coming out and have dinner and just have a hell of a good time. We have a saying: if you don't have a good time, it's your own damn fault.
Now, is your good friend Joe Madden coming tonight?
No, Joe went back to Pennsylvania, and he left last week, so he's back up there playing golf.
Yeah. So tell me what tonight's going to be all about. I know the Guardian Ad Litem thing very near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, very, very close. And, watching my wife do this work for 25 years. Once I became a head coach, I wanted to start a foundation to, glorify her work, but also raise awareness because it's such a great cause. These kids need our help. Yeah. And, they're not in any situation by their own fault. And they need that positive voice in their life, and that's the Guardian Ad Litem or a casa.
Give me a quick story of a kid you've met that this has changed their life.
Oh gosh, well, my wife's first case 25 years ago. She's still in touch with the mom.
Really?
And the son is now a great dad. He's got 3 kids, and this is one of those people that they said had no chance, and now they have a great life. It's because that's what they do. You know, they're that positive influence in that kid's life.
When you see your guys showing up here, Mike Evans, I just saw him drive up, and Vita Vea, these guys will be with you forever, right?
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah, I mean, it's so gratifying. You shoot a quick text in 5 minutes. I'll be there, coach. You know, it means the world. And that's when you know you did something right. You know, that, winning isn't everything, but you have to do something right.
It's almost impossible to go from winning a Super Bowl to then going right back to the playoffs. This team hasn't stopped. Jason's done an amazing job. What do you think of this year's version of this team? They're better than ever.
Oh, I love it. I think with the draft, we were able to get just good players. We didn't have the need that we had to go reach for. And I'm really anxious to see this ball club on the field. We just got to stay healthy this year. And but the new additions are fantastic. And, and this second-year players, I think some of them are going to really shine.
You like Ibuka?
Oh, I love him. I thought he was one of the top 2 receivers in the draft because he could do everything. Chris is one of my favorites because Chris is like Hines, Ward, and Larry. They do the dirty work.
Right.
He does it, and he's a great receiver too.
Love that.
It's hard to find that anymore.
Yeah,
where they'll do the dirty work and just be a pro.
Yeah, you mentioned some of the second-year guys that are coming back. Who are some of those guys you think will make a big jump?
I think Bucky made a great impression last year. I think he's just going to get better.
Heck yeah.
The outside back of Braswell, all those guys that were there last year.
Keep mentioning
Martin's
Braswell.
going to get better. He got thrown into the fire, and they're just going to get better. The offensive line, it's very seldom can you keep them all together.
Yep.
And Jason did a great job of keeping them all together, and it's a good cohesiveness and ready to roll.
What do you think it says?
It's going to be fun to watch, and let's see if he can do it at this level. He's done a great job up to this point.
The Super Bowl team, how often do you think of that and that group that you put together?
Yeah, not as often as you would think.
Really?
I've got so many great memories with so many great players. I'm just hoping I can go back to the Hall of Fame every year now because one of them are going to get inducted. And, I can't wait to see Larry go in, Ben go in, Hines, hopefully, Reggie, and then Mike and guys from here, So it's but yeah, that was a very, very special year. COVID and the whole thing, and having no practice, and putting a new quarterback in a situation like that. Tommy did a great job.
There'll be some stories about that tonight, I imagine.
Oh yeah, there will be for sure.
Bruce, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Great to see you.
Yeah, he's very high on this team, and also Levante and obviously they're going to speak very highly of it. But you could just tell when you talk to him before and after off camera that they really think this team is talented and good and deep, and they've added a lot of depth.
Right.
I think the offensive line, Bruce obviously knows how important that is, and that cohesiveness is just it's just fantastic. And it's such a big part of what offenses do. So,
what's interesting is I've heard this offseason already post-draft. I've heard a lot of these team representatives and defensive coaches mention the name Chris Braswell.
Yes.
Like specifically.
Yes. Yeah.
I think they're expecting a jump from him and some, they're expecting him to show why he got drafted where he did, and to make an appearance finally on this defense and to be a factor. So, and that's good. Put a little pressure on the kid.
Yeah.
That might do him some good.
It also makes me think, because he wasn't active late in the year in the playoff game, I think. Maybe there was an injury there. And maybe there was something happened to him last year where he wasn't 100% because he didn't have that violent ferocity that you saw on the Alabama tape. He didn't have that push. He didn't have that because that was his thing. He wasn't going to be an outside, rusher guy that,
right.
The classic pass rusher. He was more of a power, speed to power guy. And he just never really showed that. And then you kind of thought he was just overmatched at this level. And maybe he is. I don't know. That's why I think we're all like a little skeptical. So what do they know that we don't know? Right. Yeah. Maybe they don't want to share the fact that he was playing injured or something like, or whatever. We don't know, but they all keep talking about him and they all seem to know. And I know they know something about football. Right. So
maybe they've been working on his body a little bit, maybe some conditioning and some strength issues, maybe that they've been working on for the last year. And with all of that stuff now being worked on and having been done, maybe they know where he is and where he should be right now. Right. So that'd be a great surprise, right?
Yeah. And guy, when you hear Bruce and Jason and Jason said that thing that we all kind of raised our eyebrow is like, we're deeper at rush end than many people think. And it's like, but none of us we're like Braswell, really?
Like, really?
But again, they know more than we do. They know a hell of a lot more than we do. And we just know what we saw on tape. And I think they would all admit that wasn't what they were hoping for, and even in the first year. And it does take guys a lot of time. He may be one of those guys that was just a little overwhelmed at the NFL level. Rondé was one of those guys. He was just, his first year, he didn't do squat. And, the rest was pretty good. Now, I'm not saying Chris Braswell is going to the Hall of Fame. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is some guys come in and circumstances are what they are. You don't know what's going on at home. You don't know what's going on physically. They just, first year is just not that good. Yeah. And that may have been what it is for Braswell, because you're getting a lot from these people that know more than we do that he's going to be good. So we'll take their word for it, and we'll look forward to it. Yeah. And I think Bruce makes a great point. Bucky was great last year. He's going to be better. Now, I don't want Grizzard to wear his ass out, and I don't think he will.
No.
That's why, they didn't trade Rashad White.
Why you kept White, yeah.
Yeah, so they're you don't want to mess around with that. I yes, every time he touches the ball, it's great, but I don't want to see him getting 40 touches a game. It's too much, especially for his size.
And especially early in the season, yeah.
30's too much. I think 20 to 25 is the sweet spot. Rashad White gets his, and when you need a little spell, you got 24. So I mean, they've got plenty of good players at the running back position. They're going to be good. By the way, Scott Reynolds had to push back to 10:45, so we're good on that. All right, let's take a quick break. Come back. I'm going to get to your comments. You guys are just – can you not wait till the schedule comes out? You people.
We got like 10 hours to go. Come on.
What's going to happen? Where are we going to be week one? Relax. You're going to have plenty of time to get your tickets. Plenty of time. So, but I know you guys are excited about it. I am too.
Should be.
But it's, we're going a little batty on the schedule, I think. Let's calm down a little bit. All right, we're brought to you
know what? Here's my schedule prediction. I bet they play the Saints twice this year. I bet.
You're a clairvoyance? Oh, my God.
And I bet they win both games.
Now you're really going out on a limb. The Jeeves Law Group studio is where we are this morning, and we love it. Sounds great. Looks great. At least the lighting does. Sorry, I'm in the picture. JEEVESLawgroup.com is the website. They are local. They are trusted, and they get results. Folks, you want to go with one of these big companies that's trying to lure the Rays to Orlando? What are you thinking about? No, it's the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. They are local, they're trusted, and they get results. Knowing the local landscape is part of the deal. So give them a call. If you're involved in an accident, they got to be your first call, and then tell them JP sent you. JeevesLawGroup.com, not attorney, spokesman, offices, Tampa, St. Pete. Back with your comments, knuckleheads, when we return. Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings, or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you it's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. that's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays! JP here for Riveters, our new official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. And just like our show, no BS, no corporate chain feel, just amazing, authentic folks serving great comfort food in a casual atmosphere at unheard of prices. Riveters is located just south of Raymond James and Steinbrenner Field on Dale Mabry, walking distance to the park. So free parking, great place for pregame and postgame. Let's talk about fresh food. Nothing is frozen. Burgers, wings, prime rib, roasted fresh daily, never frozen. That makes a huge difference. The mahi, the salmon, also super fresh. All our sauces are original recipes made in-house. Our Warhawk chili and fully loaded potato soup is made fresh in-house. It's the best food anywhere, served by people who actually care. Riveters on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of where the Bucs and Rays play. We'll see you there. Are you looking to renovate your home, rebuild after the hurricanes, or build your dream home from scratch? Well, let me tell you about my friend Jason Fawcett and On-Site Construction. They have over 1,450 satisfied clients, 25 years of experience, over 500 designs, and a talented team of over 40 construction professionals. They believe building something exceptional begins by truly focusing on all the details, even the smallest ones. We understand that construction can be a daunting process, and we're here to make it as smooth and stress-free as possible. Quality is non-negotiable at On-Site Construction. We use the finest materials, employ the most skilled tradespeople, and adhere to the highest industry standards to deliver a product we're proud of and that you're going to love. Our project management is meticulous with a focus on completing projects on time and on budget. Your happiness is our primary driver. So give us a call at 813-579-5789 or check out our incredible website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show on schedule release day. It's schedule release day. Get your computers ready. Jump on those flights and hotel reservations as soon as they come out. That's what you got to do. I always like seeing the juxtapositions of college football games, if there's going to be, because the NFL is a nice way of doing that. Sometimes you'll schedule a FSU game with a Bucs game or a Gators game with a Bucs game, with Saturday, Sunday combo. Those are always cool. So you might find one of those. Have a nice weekend in Boston or North Carolina or something like that. Chicago. That'd be cool.
Is there such thing as a nice weekend in Boston and Boston?
Oh my God, what a great city. I say that because all of these American cities used to be amazing cities to go to, and now they're really, that's so sad. Man.
And see what sucks is like
sad.
Cities that I absolutely despise in the Northeast, right? Everybody knows we talked about Philadelphia and how I have no love lost for that city.
Have you ever been to Independence Hall?
I have, and I love
awesome. The Liberty Bell.
I love the history of the city, and I love the architecture and everything about the city.
Yes.
Except the city. Like the people that are there, and how it's just a ridiculous commonwealth of a state now. And I feel the same, not quite as harshly, but almost the same. I lived in Boston for 4 months. It was all I could freaking stand, and I had to leave. And weirdly, I went to D.C., which isn't any better. But historically,
when did you live in Boston?
Where?
When?
98.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome.
No, it was great, but I couldn't deal with the people, man. And I don't know what language they speak in Boston, but it ain't American.
Harvard, yeah.
Disgusting. I went to a Harvard football game.
Great, yeah. The sports, the old Garden was awful, but fantastic at the same time. Yeah, I mean, the history of Boston. I mean, my God, I love
all that. I'm a history fanatic, fantastic. Dude. I love every bit of that. And all the
you go to Cheers, you see Nami and Mayday Malone. Come on.
Maybe the greatest fictional pitcher of our time.
Yeah, absolutely. The best salad. Yeah.
Yes. Oh man, for
Mayday
sure.
Malone. Fantastic.
That's what was so great about that series finale is when they exposed that he was actually bald the whole time.
Cliffy the postman. Cliffy the postman. Yeah.
We're talking
Cheers.
about
What a
Cheers
great
for
show.
you young kids that don't understand.
Oh my God, yeah.
But yeah, no, I just hate that I hate now the people that are in those cities and they've ruined it for me.
Yeah, well, they're just what the politicians have done to those cities is just beyond criminal. Beyond criminal. San Francisco. Oh my God, it used to be such a beautiful city. What a beautiful city. Now they have websites to show you where the human feces is.
Yeah. It's disgusting.
Wow. It doesn't have to be that way, folks. It doesn't have to be that way. But anyway,
they love their homeless, but they don't love their veterans.
When they're doing everything they can to get the criminals and the rapists and everybody back out onto the street. We got to cut it. You know, that's what we got to do. We got to spend our time doing that. All right. Oh, Scotty's here. He lied to me. He said it'd be 45. It's 42. It's 42, and he's in.
We'll allow it.
Let's welcome in the great Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report, who is standing by his computer and his phone at every moment trying to get the latest schedule leaks.
Yep.
No, Scott, I made the random prediction before we went to break just now that I predicted the Bucs will play the Saints twice.
I could see that. I could see that happening. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to say the Panthers twice and the Falcons twice also.
Wow.
I know.
I did see a nice graphic here. Yeah, I did see a nice graphic of Week 1 that had Bucs at Panthers Week 1.
Yeah,
I did see that.
I
don't know the validity of that.
I've also heard Bucs at Falcons Week 1.
Yeah,
I've heard that from a couple people. Nothing official, but
that would be an interesting
start with a division game.
Well, here's the thing. If you look at the Rays schedule, right, and this is important because they're sharing a parking lot now.
That's right. That's right.
So the Rays actually play on the Sunday of the first and third week of the season.
Day games, yeah.
Day games. So you could pretty much suggest that the Buccaneers will be on the road to start the season and then also in Week 3.
Yeah.
Right.
And I kind of like starting on the road, to be honest with you, because
certainly for the fans, man.
Well, I think it's good because, once you get into the season and then you got to travel 1 week, then, you only got 7 days or, 6 days to get ready.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you're traveling Week 1, you got 6 weeks to get ready to travel.
That's right. Yeah. And it's sweater weather in September anyways in Tampa.
Yeah.
not that you're putting on a sweater, but you're a sweater fella.
You're going to be a sweater. Yeah. The more games we don't have in September and October, the better it is. I know they balance them out, but I'm
telling you, that week was Week 4 against the Eagles.
Oh,
right. That game, and I've talked to a lot of Buccaneer fans. They said that was first of all, it was the hottest game last year for sure. It just was. And I remember walking down to the locker room.
Yeah.
And I want to say it was Darius Slay, and he had stripped down to basically just his pants. Right. The shirt was off. Cleats were off, socks were off. He was in a plastic kiddie pool.
Yeah.
Were you there to see that too?
Oh, yeah. Well, I walked by it probably about 2 minutes after you, and he was joined by 6 of his teammates because it was full.
Yes.
The pool was full.
He had an IV. There was a paramedic.
Yeah.
And this kiddie pool was like filled with ice, ice water. So it was basically like a quick assembled ice tub.
Yeah.
It
was full.
He was struggling.
Overflowing. Yeah.
He was not doing well, and he had the IV in him. The paramedic was there, so it was a hot day. And it's hard to get Buccaneer players to admit their weakness, right? These are proud young men playing football. But remember, they went to Atlanta 3 days later, right, and played the Falcons on Thursday Night Football.
That's right.
They traveled to Atlanta on Wednesday. They played the Falcons Thursday night. They lost that game. They kind of ran out of gas, right?
They did.
The Falcons came back, tied the game, went to overtime, and won it. And I believe that was a contributing factor. I
remember saying that week because
was a factor.
I remember saying that week on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, leading up to it. And I said, "Listen, guys, the Bucs are not going to win this week just because of what they just went through."
Yeah,
and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the defense played like 85 plays or something. I said they just can't. Your body cannot recover. Yeah. I said if they were to go up there and make a game of it and win this is going to be a Herculean effort by the Buccaneers. And I thought they did. They played their asses off for about 3.5 quarters. But they ran out. Absolutely, they ran out of gas. So the less games in September, and they should not. The NFL should not schedule any September or October games in Tampa at 1 o'clock. I mean, 4:15 ain't much better.
Yeah.
But
right.
I think last year we had a night game. One of our night games was second with the Eagles game. Night games, 4 o'clock games, please, because it's not good for the fans. It's not good for the players.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at least listen, you're starting the game in an inferno at 4:25, right? But at least you have a reprieve. Each hour is going to get cooler.
Yeah,
the stadium's
going to go away.
The sun's going to go away. The stadium's going to get shadier. So we'll see what the future holds. One of the schedule leaks, and these are all unconfirmed. This was from Maria Martin. She says the Falcons have 5 primetime games, including a Thursday night football game at Tampa. And so that's interesting because the Buccaneers rarely play at home on Thursday night. Matter of fact, I think they have played once out of the last Thursday night football game that they played at home was against the Ravens in 2022. That was where Shaq Barrett tore his Achilles. And they've lost all of their Thursday night football games under Todd Bowles since he's been the head coach.
That's right.
I want to say they're 2-4 in their last 6 Thursday night football games, if my memory serves me correctly. So they've not played well on Thursday night. That would certainly be a big game. My whole thing is I just wonder, the creamsicle game, like when is that going to be? And maybe that should be against the Saints. Like find the weakest opponent and just get a win, right? Like
please.
Just, like do that. But the interesting thing is, what if the Buccaneers broke out the creamsicles on a Thursday night game against the Falcons? Like and put the creamsicles.
Do we have to play in the creamsicles?
Yes.
Some fans like them.
I love them. I love them to wear, but we can't win in them.
Well, I know. And for that reason, I tolerate them once a year. I'm not one of these people that calls for they should make them the jerseys every game. No, it's not.
We lost to the Broncos.
Yeah.
Bo Nix's third start. They got our ass kicked.
Well, no, they didn't play against the Broncos last year.
I thought that was the game.
The creamsicle game was against the Falcons.
The Falcons, yeah. Even worse loss. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, even worse.
It was a division loss. Yeah.
Yeah, to a team that Kirk Cousins, the only team he could beat. Yeah,
exactly.
All right. So enough of the schedule leak stuff. It'll come out tonight, 8 o'clock, folks, and then we'll have it and we'll do it. I'm more interested in what you've learned. I think this is going to be one of the big storylines of the season, and that's the change of the Buccaneers defense schematically and maybe even spiritually. It's the new coaching staff, which you talked to yesterday, because they scheduled it during my damn show. And I saw a lot of things, heard a lot. You were on this last week when you interviewed Zion McCullum. Great podcast, by the way. Go listen to that if you've missed it, folks.
Zion breaks news, man. I'm telling you.
He does. I don't think the team likes it very much. Yeah. But
there's a reason why he got the good guy award from the media last year, because he's very outspoken, and he broke a lot of news.
So talk a little bit about that, because I'm excited about it. Let's let the players play and stop trying to trick everybody. Let's go.
Yeah. So Todd Bowles wants the secondary to be more aggressive. He knows that you can't play off coverage as much and get those interceptions, right? So you will see more press man, or what looks more like press man.
Right. It
might be a situation where the corners are up close to the line of scrimmage, and they might do a bail technique. Right? They might drop into quarters. They might drop into that. But what you're not going to be seeing at the snap is this cushion that just invites the quick pass outside. And so this is going to be part of their disguise, where they're going to be up in the face of these corners a lot more. And you can do a lot with that, right?
Right.
Go back to the Monty Kiffin days, Tampa 2. You had Rondé and BK on the outside, and they rerouted everything inside towards John Lynch and towards Derek Brooks, right? And that was just how they played cover 2. Well, Todd Bowles is not really a cover 2 guy, plays it very sparingly, but you can still do that from a press man standpoint. You can bail, as I said, and play cover 3, quarters, whatever. You can play press man, right? There's a lot of things that you can do by being closer to the line of scrimmage if you're a cornerback. But more importantly, you're not going to have that tell. You're not going to have that.
Exactly.
It's 3rd and 10, and I'm going to give up 7 yards, right, in terms of cushion. And then it's one-on-one on the outside. And how many times did we see last year, like Patrick Mahomes took advantage of
just take it.
Josh Hayes.
Yeah.
And he made DeAndre Hopkins look like his old self. And he just kept schooling Hayes over and over again with those easy completions. So I think that's a big focus. The other thing too is, and Zion even said this, they're communicating more together. In other words, the cornerbacks and safeties are spending more meeting time in the same room. And I love that. And it's funny because, you had a couple of these older coaches, Kevin Ross, the cornerbacks coach, and Nick Rapone, who was Todd Bowles' safeties coach back when Bowles was a safety at Temple. Okay. So I think Nick Rapone's in his 70s, Todd Bowles in his 60s. Okay. And so these are some older gentlemen. And listen, I'm not disparaging them. They have forgotten more football than I'll ever learn. Okay.
That's right.
But sometimes, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. And the new dogs are more apt to learning new tricks and communicating with younger players. The funny thing is when we brought this up to both of those guys, both those coaches yesterday, they kind of grizzled at it a little bit. Like, I think even Nick Rapone said, well, we won a Super Bowl, meeting separately. So, okay, that's fine. That was a different team, man. That was 2020. Sean Murphy-Bunting is gone. Jordan Whitehead is gone. Carlton Davis is gone. Zion McCollum wasn't here. Tyke Smith wasn't here. You know what I'm saying? It's like Winfield and Jamel Dean are the only two guys left from that Super Bowl secondary. So what worked for one group might not work for the other. You hear all of this miscommunication stuff from Todd Bowles. Yeah, some of it's lip service to cover his guys' asses. I got that. Some of it's legit, man.
Yeah.
Some of it is. Some of it is miscommunication. So
when there's a broken coverage, by definition, there's miscommunication.
There's no doubt, right?
Whether it was in the it happened in the meeting room or on the field, somebody they weren't on the same page, and that's a problem.
Exactly. And so why not bring them all together? And I go back to it. I'm an old school guy. This is year 30 for me, right? So I'm an old school guy. When Mike Tomlin got here in 2001, this team the next year in 2002 had 31 interceptions. Let me say it a little bit louder. 31 interceptions.
That's impossible.
31 interceptions. And guys, don't even think about the 5 picks in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Okay. Or the picks against the 49ers and the Eagles in the run-up. No, that was 31 in the regular season. Okay. Now, Derek Brooks had a handful. Sheldon Quarles had one. Right. But it was mostly the secondary.
Right.
And what was Mike Tomlin's title back then? Defensive backs coach.
Yeah.
He coached John Lynch. He coached Brian Kelly. He coached Dexter Jackson. He coached Rondé Barber.
Yeah.
And he had this other guy with him, Raheem Morris, in the room, who was his assistant, right?
Yeah.
Between those two guys,
but when do we break everything off into like every player has to have his own coach now? It's like, and they're in different meeting rooms. Like,
sometimes it's
get them all
together.
Yeah, I agree.
It is. And
you have to play as a team. You should be meeting as a team.
I have been called a Todd Bowles hater by some. I've been called a Todd Bowles apologist by others. That tells me I'm doing my job.
Yep.
And I say this unabashedly. I love everything Todd Bowles has said and done this offseason. Give this man some credit. He is in his, early 60s, 60, 61. He is not an old dog that doesn't learn new tricks. He has got a game management coach. He has rearranged his coaching staff, brought back Mike Caldwell, who was on the Super Bowl staff as the inside linebackers coach, moved Larry Foote, where he coached outside linebackers, some guys you might have heard of, JPP and Shaq Barrett. They helped win a Super Bowl. He's back coaching the pass rushers. He moved George Edwards off of positions and kind of in this overseer strategy type role, which I think he's better suited for. And now at Todd Bowles' request, or directive, he says, we're going to have everybody meet together in the secondary.
Right.
And again, amen, hallelujah. Thank you, Todd Bowles, because again, another thing Todd Bowles has done right this offseason. And I just give this guy a lot of credit. Who knows if it's all going to work or not, right? Who knows if their Bucs are going to get better, stay the same, even get worse? Who knows? But I applaud him for looking at what happened with the early exit last year in a playoff game they should have won.
Yep.
And he said, what I'm doing right now isn't good enough. It's good. Won another division title, won one more game in the regular season, finish strong at the end of the year, but it's not good enough. And I appreciate the willingness to try to get better. and to change, right? Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different outcome.
Tim, you want to get in here?
Yeah, Scott, Bucs minicamp, obviously the rookie minicamp just ended. And I've heard different things, and seen different things in different media outlets about players that stood out.
Yeah.
Do you have a one takeaway from Bucs rookie minicamp over the weekend?
Yeah, Jacob Parrish, the K-State kid, had 2 pick sixes and just really picked things up pretty quickly. I think he's going to be the nickel. And he's still going to get some looks at the outside. And I think he might be like that Sean Murphy Bunting, where he's got enough size and enough ability and certainly enough speed to play outside, but probably better inside. And I even asked Kevin Ross yesterday, is Benjamin Morrison going to have that flexibility too to cross-train? He said, no, he's pretty much going to be an outside guy. So one of the things that we learned was this is probably Jamel Dean's job to lose. But again, given the track record, it's probably only a matter of time before an injury strikes. And then when it does, it's Benjamin Morrison. Unless Benjamin Morrison just blows the doors off the barn in training camp and the preseason and just lights it up, and he just is.
And I think that's possible.
It could be. It could be. But position coaches like experienced players over younger guys that don't have the experience. That's just every coach will tell you that. But to your point, I think both of the rookie corners showed me something. Benjamin Morrison, in fact, he was out there doing individual drills when it was kind of expected he wasn't going to participate. It was a good sign.
Yeah.
He did everything except for he looked back
good.
pedal,
He looked really good.
Plant, everything. Yeah. The only thing he didn't do was team drills. He just has to get in better shape. So those are 2 takeaways from the cornerback room. David Walker, you can ask any member of the Bucs brass, which includes coaches and scouts. And if you say, who is the best player on the field at Bucs rookie minicamp, that's the unanimous answer. He wowed everybody, including the Pewter Report staff. This guy is going to be better than advertised. And I finally kind of pried it out of one of my sources' mouths. I'm like, okay, so obviously he didn't have a 4th-round grade on this guy. He's like, I can't even tell you how high of a grade we have on this guy. It would blow your mind. So I said, okay. So, I mean, the fact that you've got David Walker now, who I think is going to push Chris Braswell for that outside linebacker 3 role behind Yaya Diaby and Hassan Reddick. And, Todd Bowles likes to do the hockey line shifts, right? So if you have Hassan Reddick and Yaya Diaby out there as starters, and now your second line comes in and it's Chris Braswell, an improved Chris Braswell.
Yeah.
And a very young, promising Shaq Barrett type of pass rusher in David Walker. Look out.
Okay.
There's not going to be much drop off in terms of pass rush production.
And they're fresh. They're fresh.
Yeah.
When when the offense or the defense gets or the offense is out there a while, you can bring back your starters. The offense goes 3 and out, and it's on the time clock. Yeah. 3 or 4 minutes, get those guys out there and get them fresh, because those offensive tackles they haven't stopped breathing hard yet, and they're right back out there as well. So
when Yaya wasn't on the field, and sometimes he wasn't on the field on 3rd downs because he played 5 plays in a row. He was out there for the first 3rd down, didn't get up the field. Now he's out there on the second 3rd down because he needs a break, right? But when he was off the field, there just wasn't a pass rush. Joe Trine-Shawinka, Anthony Nelson, just
when they rushed 4, it was just brutal. Yeah, absolutely brutal. What else did you learn from rookie minicamp in terms of maybe the offensive guys? Ibuka and Tez. Tez made some eye-opening catches.
Yeah,
Ibuka just looks. Again, I always love saying I say this because when you're out there, tape is tape, but your eyes tell you something different. The great ones just move differently, and Ibuka's one of those guys.
He's just smooth. He glides across the field. There's nothing splashy about him. Like he doesn't wow you at all. But I'm trying to remember, because this is back in 2017, and I'm 53 now. So with every day I wake up, there's just fewer brain cells.
He looks just like Godwin. Yeah.
I don't remember Chris Godwin ever standing out or looking remarkable. I remember Mike making some spectacular, like acrobatic catches behind his back, and stuff from rookie minicamp. But Chris Godwin didn't really dazzle me at any point in time. But that's not Chris's game. Chris is just the steady chain mover, He just lies.
Does the dirty work.
Does the dirty work. And I will say this about Emeka Egbuka. He's bigger than he looks on film. Like, he's really well put together. He's every bit of 6'1", 205, might even be 210.
Yeah.
He's a solid dude. He looks 15 pounds heavier than Jalen McMillan, right? And so to me, I was impressed. The thing is the only time he dropped the pass was like on punts. He was out there fielding punts during the special teams part of it. Otherwise, he just catches everything, and he is where he's supposed to be. He's reliable. You want another Chris Godwin, you might have it in this guy.
Yeah, and Tez,
the other receiver that's interesting is Garrett Green. Remember this name?
Yeah,
quarterback, West Virginia quarterback. Yeah, and I remember this guy because he was giving K-State all sorts of fits last year. Basically, because we were blitzing him and rushing him, and we were missing him, and he would like all of a sudden tuck the ball and run like 17 yards on 3rd and 7 and pick up massive chunks of yards. Very good athlete, very slippery, elusive, and thankfully we literally knocked him out of the game on the last play before halftime, and because we would have probably lost that game. He was giving us some fits. We came back to win, but yeah, he's a player that. I don't want to do the classic, Julian Edelman, type thing, but there's some Julian Edelman there, and he was returning punts as well. So he's one of those kind of sneaky players to kind of keep an eye on. And now the Bucs have a collection of those guys in Cam Jansen from last year and Garrett Green this year. You have to think probably guys that like the top 5 wide receivers are set. I mean, if we're expecting Tez Johnson to win the punt return job, he tells us it's already his. I believe him.
Yeah.
So if he's wide receiver 5, and we know Mike and Chris and Emeka and J-Mac, right? Those are the 4. Then you've got this battle royale for the last spot between a guy like Garrett Green and Cam Johnson and Sterling Shepard.
Yeah.
Probably not this year.
Yeah.
Trey Palmer, maybe not this year. So it's a great problem to have when all of a sudden you're so stacked at wide receiver that the depth chart might be filled out 1 through 5, and you're just have 8 guys battling for one spot.
You're auditioning for another team at this point when you're down that far in the training camp depth chart.
And I think the other thing too is that, like, for example, like let's say Trey Palmer doesn't make the cut, or Sterling Shepard, is just happy to be a Buccaneer again and play with Baker, and he wants to put like babysitting the kids off for one more year at age 32, and he's on the practice squad again. I mean, to have a player like Sterling Shepard in the practice squad again is invaluable. Because he's another vet who's been there and done that. He's kind of along for the ride. That if you need him, if disaster strikes again, he's an experienced guy that is on your practice squad that now knows the system, certainly knows Baker, can come up again. And you might see a guy like Trey Palmer on the practice squad. Yeah. Or, Ryan Miller was serviceable last year, but Cam Johnson might be the practice squad receiver this year, or maybe it's a guy like Garrett Green. But the more talent you have on your 53-man roster could mean the more talent you have at that position on your practice squad.
And, when you've got a guy like Garrett Green who's willing to undergo a position change, obviously playing quarterback before, that he's willing to make a position change. He knows he's a little undersized. Those guys are highly motivated to make an NFL roster. And they'll do just about anything to do it. And guys like that, coaching staffs typically try really hard to find a spot for you.
Yes.
You can't always do it, but they try really, really hard. So look out for Garrett Green.
I think you're right. And remember, when you're a quarterback, you're all about extra anyways. You had to put in extra time to learn the playbook, extra time to ingratiate yourself to your teammates, to be the leader, right? Extra time because you're an extension of the coaching staff when you're away from football, in the weight room, doing, organizing the summer workouts, right? Yep. With the Mountaineers, extra because you're an extension of the offensive coordinator on the field. You've got to know the playbook in and out and be able to communicate that with audibles and stuff. So when you're a college quarterback, you're already having to take on extra. So take on the extra challenge of learning a new position is kind of like already kind of in this kid's DNA. And I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, me too.
All right, Scotty, thank you for your time. As always, appreciate you. We will we'll chat with you next week. What do you got going on this week at Pewter Report?
tonight at 8 p.m., you can log on to Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel, and you can watch us live. We're doing the schedule release show tonight. And then tomorrow we've got a show on more about can the Bucs win in primetime. We're expecting some primetime games, of course, for the Buccaneers. So we got a couple of those things on deck. We've had a couple of recent guests. If you have the time and the inclination, go back and watch our podcast with Elijah Roberts, the new SMU defensive lineman, Zion McCollum, Yaya Diaby. We just had on Mike Beal, the vice president of player personnel as well. So a lot of Buccaneer personnel. We're going to have Jason Light on in 2 weeks as well on Wednesday, May 28th. Yeah, 2 days after.
I was his
Memorial
bitch
Day.
last night.
Huh?
I was his bitch last night. He's like, hey, I'm standing over by the bar. He's like, give me a beer. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm like, you want 1 or 6?
Been there, done that. Yeah.
Just
when you said that, it exactly you're talking about. Give me a beer. Yeah. Hey.
Yes, sir.
But he says it like in such an endearing way.
Of course he does.
Hey, brother. Hey, brother. Could you grab me a beer real quick?
Yeah, Coors Light. I mean, did you want something stronger?
Yeah.
Hey, Scott, I do have a follow-up question real quick.
Let's do it.
Oh, you got to go. And I've been meaning to ask you this since literally day one of the first day I was on these airwaves with JP when you came on the show. You have that beautiful Pewter Report jersey hanging up over your left shoulder.
It's not beautiful. I'm getting a new one that says
good, because I hate that jersey, by the way. I hate those digital clock numbers.
They're terrible.
Had it started a few years earlier, would this thing have been called creamsiclereport.com?
It did start earlier, actually.
Maybe. We might have had like an endorsement deal with like Good Humor. Good Humor for creamsicle bars too. So
he used to print that thing, right?
God,
there used to be a printed edition of this thing.
Took years off my life, man. We've had a couple of fans this year saying, "Are you going to do like a commemorative throwback for 50 years of the Buccaneers with your 30th year covering the team?" And I'm like,
Nope.
We're in a digital age, my friend. I'm doing podcasts now.
Yeah.
Because maybe I can hit record and stop, and I just talk, and I'm done. I don't have to do
a coffee table book.
There you go.
He's like, no.
You could do a book signing at Barnes and Noble.
I did 15 years of print publications. Some of those years, I was doing everything from layout to ad design to picture placement to all of the writing. So no, I'm 53, but in Pewter Report years, I'm actually 73.
Nice.
This is actually my 50th year covering the Bucs years. Not 30, it's 50.
All right, partner. Thank you for your time, as always. We'll see you soon.
Yes, thank you.
There you go.
All right, we have some breaking news regarding the Tampa Bay Lightning.
John Cooper.
No.
Oh, okay.
It involves John Cooper.
Okay.
So we will give you that after the break. After the break, we are brought to you by
Scott's over there complaining because he's not on. He wants to hear the news.
I'll send it to you in the email. As I see him back there.
He's over there gesturing wildly, like, let me back in.
Hold on there. Wait, let me back in. Put him up. Put him back up. Just don't put his mic on. Just let him just wave his arms and stuff. We have breaking news with the Tampa Bay Lightning. You got to stay till after the break to get it. That's your so sorry.
Okay, fine. I'm in.
All right.
I want to hear.
It's really good. It's big news and it's good news. It's really good news.
I'm all in.
All right. We're brought to you by we brought to you by the Golden and Diamond Source, the only place to go if you're looking for that great diamond, and they will give you a great bonus going on right now. If you bring your diamond back that you bought there, up to $2,500, you can get more for your diamond. So if you bought it for $2,500, they're going to give you $5,000 into trade-in. What an awesome deal at the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road. Back with Lightning News right after this. Stay with us. Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information
and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. JP here for the Gold and Diamond Source. You know, we told you about the amazing Diamond Savings Account where your diamond never loses its value. Well, now, through the end of May, the Gold and Diamond Source will double your trade-in value up to $2,500. Just bring in your jewelry to trade, and your $2,500 piece turns into $5,000. It's time to upgrade that ring, earrings, whatever. We have gemologists on site to make the deal. Double your trade value up to $2,500. Gets you $5,000 to spend. So go through your jewelry box and get that stuff you never wear and get something new and stylish that you're going to love. Great experience, and we will double your trade-in now till the end of May. We can finance you as well. No interest for 5 years. Only at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road. Always online at goldanddiamond.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk. Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, are you going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state, or the one that supports your favorite sports show? It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 8889-JEEVES. That's 8889-JEEVES. Hey, Tampa Bay, it's time to get your AC unit ready for summer. And here at Third Generation Plumbing and Mechanical, we recommend getting ahead of the game, keeping your family cool before the hot summer months with one of our maintenance agreements in the hopes of avoiding the dreaded emergency service call. Our maintenance agreements include, we'll test the electrical components, check and tighten high and low voltage wire connections. We'll check the refrigerant for manufacturer's performance levels, test thermostats, calibrate if needed, clean the evaporator coil and condenser coil, and clear and treat the drain line and drain pans. Just call us at 813-961-8024 for the special rates, and a human will actually answer. 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Onsite Construction and Restoration. Go to onsiteconstructionfl.com, great website, and see all their great pictures of the great work they've done. Over 25 years experience, over 1,400 jobs done here locally. Look at all the 5-star reviews. You want an honest contractor? They're very hard to find. Well, here's your guy. Jason Fawcett is the owner. You've heard him on the show, comes on all the time. Great dude. He will come out to your house, take a look, and give you some ideas. You can meet with them free. They'll have a creative session for you, show you what can be possible for your home, and they will deliver the job on time and on budget. That's what they do, and it'll be great work and guaranteed work. So go to onsiteconstructionfl.com to get more information. All right, breaking news for all you fans of the Lightning that have been very disheartened that you can't watch the games because they're hard to find. You don't have FanDuel on your TV app. They are now partnering with Scripps Sports. And they basically, the most important thing here is you'll be able to watch these games on free television over the air. But which means it will, I'm pretty sure this means it's going to be a must carry station. So it'll be on all the different, whatever cable system you have, YouTube TV, all those different things. They're launching a second, basically ABC Action News is part of the Scripps television family. And they're going to launch a second full power station called The Spot. And The Spot will be the home for all Lightning games. And it'll be the same group: Brian Engblom, Dave Randolph, Gabby Shirley, Paul Kennedy, Dave Andrechuk, Bob the Chief Taylor, the whole group that you see all the time now, but you'll be able to get it on The Spot, Tampa Bay 66. So you want to get one of those HD over the air antennas, you can get it that way. So basically it's going to be much easier to find out. It's not going to just be on FanDuel. So you're going to have over the air games. My guess is, they will also be able to put them on ABC Action News. I would guess maybe, but of course they have agreements with ABC television, so it's different. But since they're a Scripps station, they should be able to make these available in a lot of different ways. So they'll have it, an over the air station that's going to be carrying the lane. The Panthers did this last year, and it was wildly successful. They also have done it with The Utah Mammoth is part of this Scripps group.
Mammoths.
So yeah, but Vegas Golden Knights as well. So, Los Angeles Aces or Las Vegas Aces.
Yep.
And some other ones. So yeah, it just means that there's going to be a lot more offered, and you'll be able to see it over the air. So
they're following suit with a number of other MLB and NHL teams that are trying to fight this cable idiocracy that we're all going through right now, which
idiocracy.
is good.
There's a good word. Yeah.
Idiocracy.
Yeah. So that's cool. And maybe we'll get Steve Griggs on to talk a little bit about what this means for you, the Lightning fan. I think that's really, really
Which means
good.
I can subscribe to it in Dallas to watch the Lightning games.
Yeah. Yeezy says Lightning signed a regional network deal to stream the games for free. Yeah, you'll stream them for free as well via free app and Channel 66. So there you go. That's good news. That is good news. So more accessible. Now
let's celebrate a little bit.
Yeah. And I would guess the Rays are going to follow suit, do something similar. They need to. You got to get these games. You can't make it difficult for fans to be fans. You just can't.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Especially with the younger kids. They're just, you know what? They're just going to go to YouTube. They got to try more than about 10 to 15 seconds to find your games, or go buy another streaming service or another app. I don't think
we used to have, JP, back in the day, we used to have all of these channels and all of these networks and sports outlets all in one location.
Well, yeah, but you were also paying
TV.
Yeah, but you know what? You're also paying $290 a month.
Well,
and
now
there were
you're
also
paying it again.
There's also there were 295 channels that I never watch, and I didn't want to pay for. So I like a la carte.
No, I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
I'm spending way less on my streaming than I ever have.
I don't think
I know. But the problem is, problem is I gotta, I can't just change the channel. I can't go from 31 to 51. I gotta back out, go to this
go to the
app,
menu,
go to this app, and it takes like a minute to change the channel. That ain't cool. That's like the old days. I got to get up out of my chair for my dad. Hey kid, go turn. From
Wait, you don't have picture-in-picture on your 32-inch TV?
I probably do.
Not between different apps, though.
But you can't do different apps, So we got to fix that. You got to fix it. Now, what I will do is I'll watch a game on my computer. If I have dual screens, I could do computer, phone, and TV. If I'm following 3 different games. But that, I'd rather be able to just go chunk chunk or have it side by side. Like the old days. So where we are in now is a very big transition. When you have places like Hulu that are trying to combine a lot of different sports into one app and get that to work. And so what happens here is now we have rights fees everywhere else. Like so now, for the Lightning, now they're going to go sell advertising on Channel 66. And they're going to, or Scripps is going to do it for all of their games. So it's a very much a changing landscape, and I think we're going to figure it out in the next couple of years. Right now, we're in this transition time where it's just chaos. They're just trying to figure out the different deals, and the teams are losing revenue. They're losing fans because fans can't find the games. That's not good. So there's a lot of different things going on right now, and it's hard. So.
Well, good for them. Here in Dallas, the Stars started this thing a couple years ago with their Victory Plus app. And then I think the Rangers, it took about 2 years, maybe just 1 year after the Stars had kind of perfected the whole thing for the Rangers to jump on board. So maybe it'll be a similar situation in Tampa Bay with the Rays maybe signing on in a year or two after that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and maybe it probably MLB is, I would think, as they go through this sales process, going to leave it up to the next team ownership group to figure out what they're going to do. And my guess is that they will do a similar deal with this to get these games over the air, because they got it. When you're going to spend this much money in obtaining the club and building this infrastructure and all this, you got to have a conduit to put it all out on television and make it easy for the fans to do so. And be able to sell sponsorships and work that on your own. So in a lot of different ways, it gives it the teams more control locally, which I think is good. It might be more work, but I think it's good in the long run, and it will be more accessible to you, the fans, which is good.
And that's the important thing. It's got to be accessible and easy to find, man. It's got to be easy to find for people.
No, I agree. This, people, if you can't find the games, I mean, and it's not easy to watch them, or you got to spend an extra $20 a month to do it. I don't think people are doing it. I just don't think they are. Because there's a lot of competition for this stuff. All right, let's go to the comments. Shall we go to the phones, our digital phones? Daniel Rivera says, good morning, gentlemen. The Road Warrior Rays win again. Absolutely. And podcasts are the way to go.
Yes,
I would be in full agreement all the way around on that. David Terry says, in my opinion, he deserves to be in the Hall. Gambling doesn't take away the fact that he is the best hitter in history, says David Terry. It's a great point. As we jump into the Pete Rose discussion, listen, and what happened if you weren't aware of it, he's been taken off the banned list, basically, 8 months after passing away.
Ineligible list, yeah.
In the eligible banned list. And listen, is this a cowardly way for them to handle it, waiting till after he passed? Absolutely, 100%. I don't like any part of that.
We knew it was going to happen, though. I predicted.
Yeah.
We all predicted.
And the reason, and there's a reason for it. Baseball was always afraid that Pete Rose would get into the Hall of Fame and go up there on the stage and just absolutely blast everybody in Major League Baseball, which is exactly what he would have done.
He would have done,
because Pete Rose never showed any remorse. He never showed any remorse publicly, never showed any remorse privately. And that's the reason that he continued to be banned. Also, there are a lot of character questions about, what Pete Rose was doing with his life. I don't think Major League Baseball wanted him to be a representative of the game in any way, shape, or form. And I don't blame him.
No,
I mean, if you're around Pete Rose and all in his later years, and that's his life, and it's fine. Do whatever you want to do. That's fine. But he's also going to be, representing Major League Baseball, representing the Cincinnati Reds. And I don't know. I'm not sure anybody wanted any part of that. And listen, Pete Rose, my batting stance was Pete Rose. I did everything like Pete Rose. I was Charlie Hustle. I was all that stuff. I love Big Red Machine, my favorite team of all time. Doesn't take away my love for the game. Doesn't take away the fact that he is represented in the Hall of Fame. He's all over it. His bats, his uniform, the Hit King, it's all over the Hall of Fame. Go to Cooperstown and see it. He just does not have a bust. And I'm going to tell you this. In this day and age where gambling is so prevalent, and I can tell you now, folks, and it's not very well publicized, but there are issues all over the place, especially in college basketball, in the NBA, NFL, everywhere, with gambling issues, because it's an easy way to make money, and you can make a lot of money at it, and it's hard to prove. So if there's ever been a time for messages to be sent to players, don't F around with gambling, it's now. It's one of the reasons Calvin Ridley got slammed for what he did. Was it a total over response? Yep, it sure was. But it was a message to be sent to all the players. Don't F around with gambling. We cannot tolerate that, because that is the core of the credibility of these games. Without that, you got professional wrestling. We already make jokes about scripting games, right?
Yeah.
And you cannot, whenever there's a smell of impropriety in gambling, you got to lay the hammer down. And that's what baseball did. And Pete Rose bet on baseball games. Now, they'll say that he never bet on the Reds to lose. You don't know that. Yeah. You don't know that. And even if he's betting on the Reds to win, he's probably handling his pitching staff different if he's got a bet on that game than he normally would, right? You know what? I need that closer. I might not, I may not want to play him, but I had $500 on this game tonight. Yeah. I'm going to get my closer
really
again.
Needs an extra day of rest, but I'm bringing him in anyway because I need the money.
Right. And that's just the stuff we know about. Yeah. I mean, Lord knows what else was going on. And from Pete Rose as a player, the stories about that. And listen, I don't have an issue with him not ever getting into the Hall of Fame. And here's the other thing, folks. This just allows him to be up for the vote. And I don't know if there's a groundswell of voters, even former players, that are going to put him into the Hall of Fame. If you think this is automatic by any stretch of your imagination, you're wrong. And the vote's not coming up until 2027. The earliest he's going in is 2028. Now, I know that Manfred and Trump met, and this is probably somewhat of a piece of that, because Trump would love to take credit for Pete Rose. I got him into the Hall of Fame,
and he will.
Pete Rose. Yeah, absolutely. And he will. That's what he does.
And I'm okay with that.
And listen, if he made it happen, he deserves the credit, right? So whatever. I'm just not going to get into this long discussion about it. I love the guy as a player. He was amazing. He is represented in the Hall of Fame. But I think, especially in these times, we need to have rules. We need to have guardrails. We need to stick to our freaking rules. We got to make exceptions for everybody, right? It's like, look, you knowingly broke the biggest rule in baseball, and you did it with impunity, and you never apologized for it. And I know all you guys, well, he's the best hitter in baseball. Why could he not be an all-time God? Was an asshole too? I get it. But you got to look to the second level of this. It's not about his playing career. It's not what it's about. It's about the game as a macro, as a whole. And that's more meaningful than one guy getting into the Hall of Fame. You're not bigger than the game, Pete Rose, even you. And the fact that, and I absolutely believe this wholeheartedly, had he shown any contrition at all throughout these many, many years and truly tried to be a better human, I think he would be in the Hall of Fame. But he never did. He just kept flipping off baseball and because he knew he had this groundswell of support from the people. And he thought eventually that would get him in. And personally, it might. And listen, if he gets in, great, whatever. I ain't losing any sleep over it. But as a talking point, if you want my opinion, I love the fact that his accomplishments are represented in the Hall of Fame as they should be. But you don't get the bus because you decided to break the rules with impunity. Yeah. And when you do that, how can we give you the utmost – when you break the most sacrosanct rule that goes to the credibility of the game, that could ruin the game. I hate to say this, but beating up your wife is not going to ruin the game, because there's tons of people that are doing that. Right. And unfortunately, it's a horrible thing. But gambling, that's not what it's about. But that doesn't go to the credibility of the game itself. And that's what we're talking about here. So
I see both sides of it. I certainly see your point. However, as a fan, and I know that I've been there several times. I know that he is well represented in the Hall of Fame. He's got bats, gloves, attire there, bases. Everything there that you could possibly imagine that as far as what Pete Rose has done for the game. But as a fan, as a huge Pete Rose fan, he's my second favorite baseball player in the history of ever. He has been since I was a little kid and was forced to watch the Big Red Machine on TV because that's all we could watch in the 70s.
Forced? The privilege.
Yes.
Of a team that knew how to play the game, goddamn.
Yeah, I'm like, where are my Rangers? And everybody's like, who? What? What's that? But we got to watch the Big Red Machine and, Joe Morgan and Pete Rose and all them. And so as a fan, he's the all-time hits leader. He passed the record of my number one all-time baseball player in the history of ever. All right? He holds one of the most prestigious records of the game. I get what he did to baseball. The fabric of the game, the betting, something that every single baseball player for 170 years has known you can't do, right? And he did it, made no qualms about it, never apologized, and gave everyone the middle finger for it. But you know what?
There's no butt after that.
He's effing dead. As a fan, I want to see his bust. He can't ruin the game anymore, and you're freaking letting wife beaters and murderers and cheaters in the game.
It doesn't equal.
It does. To me, it does. If you're going to let somebody who beats their wife regularly in the Baseball Hall of Fame, then you have to also let Pete Rose in because I said so, and that's what I want to see. So I want to see Pete Rose.
All right, it's a tie.
But look, no. I fully understand everybody else's view, and you, JP, certainly it's a valid argument. I'm just saying personally, as a fan, I want to see a bust. I want to see his bust there.
Okay. I'm so happy. So be it. All right.
We finally get some credibility on the show here with Greg.
Well, he's got to have an opinion. It's that day, Greg Auman. Fox Sports, welcome in, covers the NFC South, but you have to have an opinion on Pete Rose because if you don't, you can't live in America. So let's go. Where are we at?
Pete Rose.
Where are we in on Pete Rose? I say still got to be out.
I say bring him in.
Tim says bring him in to break the tie.
I'm more sympathetic, man. I'm glad he's in. I hate that he's in after he's gone.
Wait, well, he's not in yet. He's not in yet.
Right. Allowed to be considered.
Yes.
Right.
But yeah, I'm from Philadelphia originally. The 80 Phils were like the first team I really loved. So big Pete fan there. Obviously, I don't like what he did, Kim, on baseball, but I don't know that it needs to be the end all permanent punishment, if you will, that it's been. Great ball player. I think there's lots of questionable off-field things, and I totally appreciate the sanctity of the game and not wanting to let gambling creep into things. And this is a good deterrent for that. But no, I'm happy to see it for Pete as a ball player.
Yeah, we've been talking about this issue forever, and he was my favorite player. I did everything like Pete Rose, and I still say, you impugned the game. You knew it. You knew what you were doing. You did it with impunity, and you kept doing it, and you were never remorseful. And all his stuff is in the Hall of Fame. So this is like 51-49 for me. I could go either way on it, but it will always be a great one. I will say this: it's completely cowardly to wait till the guy dies to do it. That is just
that's how they get the last word, though. That's how baseball gets the last word.
Right. That's just such a bad look on so many levels. So anyway, welcome to the show, Greg. We just throw you right in the fire. We appreciate it. Yeah. So you got to chat with the defensive assistants yesterday. They've moved some things around, some guys around. What are your thoughts on where this defense is going? It seems like there's change in the air schematically and from a coaching standpoint. What do you think?
Yeah, it was neat to talk to them. It was neat that there was definitely a common thread was trying to improve communication, trying to get everybody on the same page. Safeties and cornerbacks working together, meeting together more than they have in the past. So again, I mean, we've heard for years about miscommunication and being in the wrong place. And this is an eye toward that. I mean, they've had essentially the same defensive staff for a long time here. The back end has certainly been the same with Kevin Ross and Nick Rapone. So now you see two additions this year where Charlie Strong comes into the defensive line. Mike Caldwell, who had been there with them both in Arizona and in Tampa, coming back in as the linebackers coach. That lets the other nice thing is that lets Larry Foote go outside and be they've moved things around, but it's still the same people. George Edwards, who had been the outside linebackers coach, is now kind of in a positionless they call him passing game coordinator, but I think he's going to have some freedom to move around and kind of be a liaison between the different positions, if you will. I think all of this and adding an extra body on defense will also allow Todd Bowles to help a young and new coordinator on offense in Josh Grizzard. So I think it's just a lot of reshuffling, but it's something where I think it sounds like they feel better about the communication and feel like that will help them get the players to do what they want on the field a little bit more often.
You bring an interesting point up there, Greg, with Todd Bowles and the offense. Now, obviously, we know we're on our third new offensive coordinator, first-time offensive coordinator in a row here in 3 years. How involved was he with the Canales offense, with the Cohen offense, and ushering these guys into that role? And then how involved do you think he's going to be with Grizzard?
I mean, to start off with, Todd's done a really good job with these hires. Obviously, for you to pick two guys that we probably didn't know that well before they were hired, and then to elevate them into first-time coordinator, not necessarily first-time play calling NFL coordinators, if you will, and to have both of them be head coaches now. I guess it looks like by Jordan Schultz, I think they play each other in the season opener, which is kind of cool. The Bowles Bowl, if you will, with Canales and
that's funny, and
Cohen going head-to-head with Carolina and Jacksonville. But anyway, I don't know that he cares to be meddlesome in terms of I think you should do this more or this look, or I think he's trusting the offense to him. I think the going about making sure he's comfortable how to call plays, how to put together a game plan, how to recognize what defenses are doing against you. I just think there's a little bit more oversight for him. And again, some of that's that in addition to having three straight first-year coordinators, they've gotten younger. I mean, it's one of those where I think Canales was 41. I think Cohen was 39. Josh Grizzard's only 34. So, I mean, he's a young guy. And they're immensely confident in him. He's a smart guy. You got a Yale grad who's learned under some of the best offensive minds in the league. But it's still the first time he's called his own NFL offense. So that's always going to be a hesitation and uncertainty, if you will. If you remember Canales, his first year wasn't necessarily a great offense that clicked in September and October. It kind of came around as the year went on. Cohen was probably a little bit better about from the get-go, had it. but you don't know. It's one of those where there are so few uncertainties on this Bucs team because so much is back that having a new play caller on offense, even if it's somebody who came up from within the system this past year, that counts as one of their more like uncertainties and question marks. And how will that take?
Yeah.
And I do think it helps if Bowles isn't. I mean, Bowles has always given a certain autonomy to his offensive coordinators, kind of like Bruce Arians did to him when he was the defensive coordinator. But I do think within that, you want to make sure you also have the ability to step in and say, hey, you're doing this. It might make sense to do this. Get this guy involved. They let the assistants be really involved in terms of you're in charge of the third down package. You're in charge of red zone package. And they all collaborated to where it wasn't just Cohen coming out of a room and handing out papers and going, here's what we're doing this week. So I think that collaboration will still be there too.
And I love this idea of, in terms of being a first-time play caller, what a better way to get some reps than going up against Todd Bowles in practice. And they'll do these free call things. And I'm sure they're doing this, away from the game as well in sessions. Like, okay, here's what I'm thinking as a defensive coordinator, Grizz. Now, what are you, it's a chess game, right? So they're probably going to be playing lots of chess in the offseason. Like, what are you going to do in this situation? This is what your defense coordinator is going to be thinking. So what's going to be your move? And I think that's where Todd's going to spend a lot of his time, is that back and forth. So it's not so much telling him what to do. It's just like putting him in game time situations in a kind of a simulator and saying, this is what I'd be thinking. What are you thinking?
Right. And I think Bowles is, to his credit, one of the more complicated guys you go up against.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think if you're
maybe too complicated,
I think Bowles will surprise his own people in practice. Say, we're throwing this out. And even in practice, they haven't seen that look. And the idea is, if we can surprise you on a Thursday, you're going to be less surprised on Sunday if somebody throws it out there. And I do think that helps. And I think it's helped if you went back and talked to Canales and Cohen. I think part of why they were better prepared and were less surprised on Sundays is that they go every day against a scheme that is so multiple and seeks to confuse and confound the opposing quarterback and the opposing coordinator more than most teams, I think.
Yeah. And unfortunately, and I think we've gotten this message, it confounds and confuses the defense as well. It's a little too complicated. I think we've heard a lot of that recently, and I think Todd has heard a lot of it. And I think Todd's probably like, we've got better players now. We've got a better roster, and maybe it behooves me to let them play instead of me tricking the offense, because there's simplicity. And I think that's one of the problems, that the defensive backs have not been aggressive enough. They're doing too much thinking and not enough playing, not enough reacting. And I think you're going to, especially with these two guys that they drafted, you can see on their college tape, they are aggressive and they jump routes and they play a very decisive game. And I think they want to feed into that a little bit more. Did you get a sense of that from the coaching yesterday, or what the coaches were talking about? Because that's what it looks like to me that they're trying to do.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, I don't think they spoke that much about. I think the aggressiveness is universal. That's always going to be there as an intent. Yeah. I do think when you have injuries, especially on the back end, I think they're less likely to throw wrinkles and throw complexity at backups and lesser players. So it's kind of like I think when you lose your most reliable corner and your most reliable safety, I just think instead of it being a grad level course, I think it's more of a pre-rack, first year. It's defense with a much simpler. I think the problem is when you dumb it down for your defense, you dumb it down for your opponent.
Offense, right?
So I think he's at his best when he has the full arsenal at him, and he knows that he can operate with confidence in all 11 guys. And maybe you lose a single guy and you bring a guy up and his next man up, nothing changes. But when you're down 3, if you got a slower linebacker than you want to cover the middle, now all of a sudden the vulnerabilities take up a bigger part of the field. And I think it's sometimes you overcompensate by being less aggressive, and that's not who Todd really wants to be.
Greg Auman joining us here from Fox Sports, covers the NFC South, been covering the Bucs since 2013. Servassier Dennis was a name that was mentioned a lot yesterday, and I think we've all talked about him, but there's no question this defense was very good early in the season, especially against the Lions when he was playing. How excited are they to get him back?
Definitely. And it's one of those where I think the relative inaction at linebacker, the fact that they didn't draft an inside backer, the fact that the only signing they had was Anthony Walker on a fairly modest contract, basically offsetting the loss of KJ Britt almost. I think that speaks well to their confidence in Dennis being a guy that can step in. He has to be healthy, and that's been the absolute that's the big if. Years 1 and 2, But I think in getting that shoulder right, I think they feel like that covers one major concern. And I think they feel much right. And he's a better complement to Levante David is what I would say, in that I think Levante doesn't feel like he has to do as much. There's a speed that's there, both in coverage and in attacking the quarterback. It was really exciting to see what he did. Again, you talk about Detroit, and closing out a win against Detroit was centrally involved there. And the first month of the season, you saw that initial it's like a 70-30 split to start out the year, and Britt's getting most of the work. And that started to slide to where, again, I think Britt was probably in there, in run packages and short yardage packages, and Dennis was going to be the bigger part of the job share, and they lost that. And that really set it back. I don't think they found an answer. Britt's not there. You think about throwing in Deion Jones, throwing in J.J. Russell. J.J. Russell still isn't on a team anywhere right now.
Yeah.
So
that tells you a lot.
Tell you something. And again, it's one of those where I think he's filled in admirably when necessary, but I don't think he's somebody they have out there by design. So again, they love Silvestre Dennis. They feel really good about him, not only as a smart player, just as an explosive player that can be a difference maker, getting into the backfield and doing a lot of different things. But first and foremost, he has to stay healthy.
Well, great shows up early, and we had the rookie mini camp last week. You were there. I was there. We got to look at some of these kids. Who caught your eye out there?
Yeah, I mean, Jacob Parrish is probably the one that jumped out the most, just because these mini camps don't have a whole lot of things where you can see the running backs. It's hard to appreciate what they do at all. There's not a lot of one-on-one line action. So DBs and receivers are the two that spot the most. I think they said yesterday that Jacob Parrish had the only interceptions in the entire minicamp. So that stands out. Nice leap and grab on one of them. He's one where I think people initially wrote him off as a nickel because he's smaller. He's like 5'10", and they tend to like 6'2", 6'3" guys on the outside. And Bowles, to his credit, you can tell when Bowles will stand up in someone's defense more actively that he really likes a guy. Somebody asked if Tez Johnson was the fastest guy in camp. He's like, no. And then you have that like pause. You're like, who was the fastest guy? And he's like, Parrish. And he kind of said it like matter of factly, like you guys probably don't realize this. He was the fastest. And you're like, oh, wow. Okay. That's interesting to think about. And just in terms of kind of makeup speed, if you will, being able to cover a lot of ground, like in that split second between when the ball's released and it gets to the receiver, how many steps can you make up to get there and make a pick? And that's kind of what he showed a little bit.
Playing speed. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, right now, to talk about him as an outside corner, that's not a best scenario type thing for the Bucs, because if you have him on an outside corner, it's like you either have two rookies on the outside corners, and it mean you have like Izzy or somebody in at nickel, which is fine. I think they'd rather have at least one of McCullum and Dean outside, a rookie at the other spot, and a rookie at nickel, and then you have Ty Key at safety with Antoine. That's probably what feels like the best five. I think I'm going to mention you guys before, but it reminds me a little bit of Philadelphia last year, in that Philadelphia drafted two corners really early last year.
Yep.
And
huge
I think
difference makers.
One jumped in right away. Cooper DeJean wasn't a defensive player the first month of the season. He was a kick returner, getting like 5 snaps a game on defense. And then once you got to like mid-October, started throwing him in there and really made him a game changer on defense. And obviously by the time you get to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, he's one of the bigger playmakers on the field. So it doesn't take right away, but I think they really like these two. You hear people, national guys like Ben Solak, who said that he thinks that Jacob Parrish is one of the better value picks in the draft, period. Yeah. So no, it's intriguing. Obviously, I think we knew the corner was a position they wanted to address in the draft. Bowles wasn't even really hiding that. So you have McCullum, who's coming into what should be another huge contract. You have Dean, who's getting paid well, but is past the guaranteed portion of his contract, where those guys are kind of on notice. I mean, the odds of them having both of them on this team in 26 aren't that great. Yeah. So
they both got to play hard. Yeah. Going to be interesting. Greg Auman, at Greg Auman on Twitter, the X Machine. That's where you can find him. Great work. Thank you, Greg. Appreciate your time as always.
Thanks, sir.
Have a good one.
It's this. There's so much deeper at corner right now, and so when you looked up in the game against the Redskins, and there was Josh Hayes and who was the other guy? This other nobody rookie at corners, and you're like, yikes! It's the fourth quarter. It's just there was just no depth there, and you got to go through a whole season and the injuries and whatnot. So this team is so much more deep, so much deeper. at defensive back, and that's going to be huge for them. The 29th worst. They were 29th in pass defense. We've said it 1,000 times. You ain't going anywhere with doing that. And they've addressed it. To their credit, they have addressed it.
When your head coach is your defensive coordinator, you expect maybe a little more attention to be paid to over there. And it's a bad look for Bowles and for the team when your defense is that bad. But they have made strides, I think, this offseason. And at the same time, by the way, we've said it before, full credit to Jason Light for also landing Ibuka in that whole mix in the draft. Along with your what we hope will be defensive stars. So pay attention to it because, man, it's going to be fun to watch this year, I think.
Yeah. Ibuka was at the event last night. In street clothes, he's thick. He's thick, not really tall, but he looks just like Godwin. He looks just like God, maybe a little bit thinner, but and he acts like him too. And man, that's a huge get. That's a huge get. That's a huge get. All right, Johnny, you ready? They don't see his face.
Let's take a quick break here while apparently he's working through some camera issues.
All right, quick break. When we come back, we'll hear from our PGA handicapper extraordinaire, the great Johnny Gerber, PGA, and we'll talk the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow, Rory's playground.
Yep.
Is he going to win 2 in a row? We'll find out. Stay with us.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Going through a medical emergency without health care insurance can cause you to go into crippling debt. In most scenarios, people are forced to either break into their retirement funds or worse, they're forced to file for bankruptcy. The sad truth is that health care insurance is crucial in today's day and age. Look, I get it. Many of you think you're never going to get sick and health insurance is really expensive. Well, we can help you out with that. Depending on your income, we can find great plans and huge discounts. God forbid you get cancer, a car accident. It could literally ruin you financially for life. So make the call and find out. Even though the open enrollment period is over, you may have some qualifying life events that can help you get covered right away. It can be very complicated, a very intimidating process, but we can help. Go to our website and check out all the 5-star reviews about our helpful agents. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. JP here for Riveters, the official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. We're located just south of Ray J and Steinbrenner Field, so it's a great pre- and post-game spot, and the happy hour is amazing. Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Check out these specials. $3 Bud Light drafts, $4 domestic bottles, $5 wells, $6 premium wells, $6 cocktails like margaritas. It's unheard of. And the Riveters food is freshly made daily. No freezers. Happy hour food specials include $3.50 tacos and barbecue sliders. $6 you get edamame or chips with the beer cheese, which is amazing. $8 buffalo chicken dip, my favorite. The truffle fries, chili cheese fries, also $8 at happy hour. As well as other specials throughout the week, including Taco Tuesdays, you get $3 tacos, and Wing Wednesdays, 7 o'clock to 1 a.m. in the morning, you get our amazing wings, 5 for $5 and $5 wells and wines. That's a good Wednesday night. So if you're tired of the preppy, overpriced, generic sports bars, come see the amazing, friendly bartenders and staff at Riveters, where customer service really matters. Riveters, just south of where the Rays and Bucs play. We'll see you there. JP here for my friend Jason Fawcett, owner of On-Site Construction. They do residential and commercial renovations and new construction. As a leading home builder and general contractor, On-Site Construction prides itself on transforming homes through superior craftsmanship, dedication to client vision, and an unmatched commitment to quality and service. It's about building relationships. We take the time to understand our clients' needs, preferences, and budgets so that we can deliver a personalized experience tailored to their unique vision. From the initial designs to the final touches, we're there every step of the way, ensuring that the end result mirrors your vision. Here are some testimonials from happy customers. G. Gibson says, no hidden costs, very honest, reliable, creative, and communicates well. Reasonable and fair with their pricing, no hidden costs. C. Smith said, did not disappoint. I'm very happy with the work. This company really cares and will take care of it. So if you're just thinking about building or renovating, give us a call and let's see what's possible. 813-579-5789 or check out our website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Riveters. Don't forget to head on over to Riveters tonight. Watch the Panthers and Maple Leafs go at it. You can watch the Rays, Blue Jays as well on about the same time. So you're going to need a couple of TVs, and then you don't have to cook dinner. You can get all the great food at Riveters. Get there early for the happy hour. Goes from 3 to 7, and the prices are fantastic. Try out the buffalo chicken dip, just $8. Get the wings. You get the wings, 8 wings for $12. And they're huge wings. Trust me, that's your dinner right there.
And the Riveters cheesesteak that we renamed.
Riveters cheesesteak is amazing. All the food is fantastic there. So head on over to Riveters tonight, riveterstampa.com. Check out all the food right there. All right, let's talk some golf with the great John Gerber, PGA Pro and predictioner extraordinaire. Here's Johnny. Oh, I like that intro. What's up, dog?
Fellas? Oh, you made me hungry talking about the Riveters wings. I'm starving right now. What are you doing?
Let's do it.
So good.
Sounds like we need a trip to Tampa is what we need.
And you know I'm a wing connoisseur, so you are. I know you are too. So if you like them, I'm ready to try them. I'm ready to get there tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, come on down. Let's do this.
Right.
I'll wait for the Rays to come back so that we can do the double dip, go to Riveters, and then go on up to the game. It's a great way to watch baseball and all that. It's good stuff. All right, we got great storylines this week at the PGA. Rory going for the Grand Slam, the season Grand Slam. He's got a great chance to do it at these tracks. If anybody's ever done it, he's hot as a firecracker. Unfortunately, there's this guy named Scotty Scheffler who's playing maybe the best golf of his life. Scotty Scheffler. Are those your two favorites here? I mean, that's not who we're betting on because we go for value, but is that the two guys?
You have to think so. I mean, just the reason being, this golf course, we've talked about it all week. You have to drive the golf ball. You have to drive it well here. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. If you look at the people that won, I mean, the joke around the tour, this is Rory McIlroy Country Club, right? And this, you're going to hear it a lot, how many times he's won 4 or 5 times here. And if you look the other past guys that have won here with, Max Homa at that time and Ricky Fowler,
my boy,
you might not see it now, but they were driving the ball the best on the PGA Tour. And then you look at another guy like JT who has won there. They have driven the golf ball extremely well when they come there. So that is the key. It's not definitively far. It's just how straight, and if you can keep it in between and keep it out of that rough is going to be key. Those are your two favorites just because how well they are driving the golf ball. I liked what Scotty said yesterday. He said, listen, it's a driver on every hole except par threes. He said, that's just what it is. And you put a driver in his hands, and if he is driving it well, watch out. He's not on our card for obvious reasons. I'm not going to pick him and walk down the street and pound my chest because I picked Scotty Scheffler like half the world did. We're not doing that. This is not what we do.
We're trying to make money here.
We're here to make some. I'm not going to lay out $100 to get $320 back. There's just
I like
my
other
time.
guys.
My time is worth more than that, and my risk. I would rather risk more than that.
But don't make it worth your while. You're not making it worth your while with those guys.
So if we're not gambling, but we just who you think's going to win though. I like
JT. I do.
Okay. Right.
He's on our card. I like him for a lot of reasons. The familiarity that he has there.
You gave me a different answer yesterday.
Well, it was yesterday, wasn't it? I mean, there's a lot of time that goes between yesterday and today.
Like a Maytag washer.
But listen, things change. The weather conditions change. Just because you don't know how things work when it comes to golf, that doesn't mean that these guys don't.
I'm an expert.
You're an expert at something. I just don't know I ain't figured out what it is yet.
It ain't picking golf.
You see what I have to go through the week. This is
if you like this banter between these two brothers of a different mother, Did you from the rough is your podcast? Because that's all they do is go at each other.
Oh yeah,
it's fantastic.
I tell him how wrong he is every 30 seconds, and he tells me that I don't know anything that I'm talking about. And then I just show him my record, and then I show him the record, and he's like, "Okay, yeah, you might be doing something right." So, yeah, I mean, if you look at that, if you kind of look down the board, there is a lot of value. I was struggling with this card is not the right way to say it. I had a lot of guys in my pool this week. Normally, I'll have no more than 15 that maybe a couple guys get left out. I had 20 this week, and it was very difficult to kind of take some of these guys out just because of how good some of these guys are at driving the golf ball and where they're from. You know, all these guys that are on my card this week are from the South. And there's a reason that is where they're playing this kind of hybrid overseeded Bermuda grass in a major championship, and the familiarity with the golf course certainly kind of put some guys out that I'd normally like in this type of situation. They just didn't make the cut this week. Didn't make our card this week.
All right. So if you're just picking it without value, you still say JT's the guy. And what do you think about Rory this week? He's won here 4 times.
Yeah, I like him. I really do. I like him. You know, I just don't like how he finished last week driving the golf ball. I mean, it's a little different type of golf course driving. It's a little more quirky than Quail Hollow. And you know, Rory made a great comment, and a lot of these guys do that people don't realize is this is a tree line golf course. Last week wasn't a lot of trees, and Rory likes to line up the driver and kind of work the ball, the shape of the hole, but he picks out lines of trees in the background. He didn't have that last week. So that's one of the reasons why he does like Quail Hollow. I just don't like the way he kind of played on the weekend last week. But I do like how free he is, kind of unlike Jordan Spieth, who has a lot of pressure on him. Not a lot of people are talking about the career Grand Slam because of the Scotty and the Rory. But yeah, I don't think he's going to win. I really like JT over both those guys, not because of the value, but I just like the way he's coming into better form.
I'm kind of surprised that people even ask these questions, but yesterday Rory was asked about, well, you didn't talk to Bryson at all during the Masters. Was that rude? Why didn't you? It's very rude not to talk to your opponent. I'm like, trying to win a golf tournament here. I love what Rory said. He's like, why? I'm not trying to be his best mate out there. I'm trying to win the Masters.
That's a guy should never, ever ask another question. They should revoke his media because most of the guys, I mean, unless it's the first couple rounds or they're completely out of the golf tournament, there's not a lot of chatter in between all of it. And especially if he would have done his research, Bob Rotella told him not to say a word to him. You shake his hand on the first tee, and other than that, you don't say a word to him, and that's what he did. And
laser focused.
And nothing to do with live golf or PGA Tour. It was competition. That's all it was.
It was straight competition. And if Bob Rotella is going to tell you to do something, you should probably do it because he's he's smarter than us three combined. I promise you that.
Yes. That's his mental coach, by the way, for those who don't know, the great Bob Rotella. All right, let's look at the card. Let's get right to it and look at the card and give us your reasons for who you're picking and why. Here we go.
Yeah, after last week, we had Shane Lowry last week, and we had him in our matchups 2 times, and it was our only 2 losses, so we went 2-2 in matchups. We were riding Shane Lowry hard. I was crushing. I was drunk texting Tim on Sunday because can you believe this? Yeah. So
he was drunk playing, I think.
Yeah, it really hurt.
A lot of drinking going on Sunday.
It's what it is. I should have been at Riveters watching it because we had that right there and close. Yes. But like we talked about before, I do like JT. I mean, he is in the top 5 in the favorites. We got him at 20-1. I just really do. I like the way he's coming into form. I like the way he's shaping the golf ball. You got to move it both ways here out at Quail Hollow, and he is perfect for that. Past PGA champion. Plays well on this Bermuda grass now. He's had to learn it a little bit. Now moving to South Florida, it's helped him a lot. But I really like the way I like his confidence. And I love the way he's driving the golf ball. He's our top pick. Ludwig Oberg at 28-1. You look at a guy I know he hasn't been in a great form, but if you talk about value on a guy at 28-1, this is the best odds you're going to get with him all year because I really think he's going to start to play well. I think he had lingering over that illness that he had early in the year out at San Diego. I think he's kind of now over it. And, if you look at his golf swing and one of the best drivers on the PGA Tour, it kind of fits the bill. You got to look at the PGA Championship. you've had some upsets and some guys that maybe you wouldn't expect to win with the Rich Beams and the Sean McKeels. There's some surprises at the PGA Championship, more so than there is in any other major. I'm not saying Oberg is a surprise, but at value at 28-1, you're going to get that guy, and I like him in this spot. Russell Henley, we've had him on our card a lot, 65-1. Again, there's great value there. The only thing I don't like with Russell Henley is he's top 5 in irons from into the green. He's a little bit lower than that from tee to green. And also, I don't like the way he doesn't hit it nearly as high as these other guys. So that was a little tough for me. He almost didn't make the card. But at 65-1, you talk about value and a guy that's played very good all year. I like him in this spot.
That's normally a ham sandwich pick for you.
It normally is, but we were hungry. We were hungry today. We have a double ham sandwich. Sam Burns at 120-1.
Ooh.
120-1 for Sam Burns.
You got to throw $10 on that.
He played fantastic this past weekend. He just has to drive it a little bit better. His driving stats are terrible for the year. He's putted really solid. His caddy, Travis Perkins, is from the Tampa Bay area. I've known him from Columbus, Ohio. A great guy. I think they have a really good game plan. And if a guy that's, I don't want to say underachiever because that's a wrong way to say it, but he hasn't had the start of the year that you expect for Sam Burns. And I certainly think he's got to get some points to make a push to get on that Ryder Cup team there. So I like him in this spot at 120-1. Two top 10s, Jordan Spieth at plus 475 and Davis Thompson at plus 1,000. Tim's favorite golfer, just because he gets to put his wife on the
He's
screen.
going to leave the tour as soon as I steal his wife from him. He's going to leave the tour.
But if you look at a guy, Davis Thompson, at plus 1,000 to finish in that top 10, being from that Georgia, North Carolina area, knows the grass very well. He hits the ball. He's one of the best drivers on the PGA Tour, sits in that top 25 stats on the PGA Tour. So I like him in this spot at plus 1,000. And then Jordan Spieth, I think his game is trending. I didn't like him to win. I just think there's too much pressure. I don't think he's been in that spot enough to win. But I like him in the top 10 at plus 475. Two top 20s, Daniel Berger at plus 250 and Cameron Young at plus 425. Kind of the same reasons. Great drivers of the golf ball. Daniel Berger's been trending fantastic. Cameron Young coming off a very, very good weekend. He's been disappointing for us on our card when we've had him on there. But to finish in that top 20 with good value at plus 425, those are my two top 20 picks.
All right. We got it'll be lots of coverage. I believe who ESPN has the early window and all day long.
ESPN Plus, you can get ESPN Plus. Don't jump around there. You'll get some feature pairings there. But it's a great week. Listen, it's a great venue. As a 20-year PGA member, this is kind of our real major. I don't rank it as high, but as a PGA member, this is kind of one of the events like the Ryder Cup that we're extremely proud of. So this is our deal, and good luck to all the club pros that's made it. That's a big accomplishment.
Yeah, it is.
The 20 guys. I have a lot of friends there, probably 15 guys that I'm friends with that are playing this week. Send some text to. He said this place is playing wet and it's long and it's impossible. So I don't know if any of the tour guy or the club pros can make the cut this week. If you want to throw a little bit of a wager on maybe somebody like that, maybe pick a guy like Brandon Bigeman who hits the ball extremely far from the Dallas area. He's a friend of mine. He can maybe make the cut if the cuts can get to 7-8 over. I don't think it is. I think the winning score is going to be about 14. So, if you're just kind of a casual watch kind of person, root for some of those club pros to play well because those are always good stories.
Brandon Bigeman. Okay.
Brandon Bigeman.
Okay. Bigeman?
Yeah.
All right, partner. Great stuff as always from the Rough podcast. You can find it on FanStream Sports, our YouTube channel.
Today at 6 Eastern.
You guys will be going live at 6 Eastern.
Yep.
Yelling and screaming at each other.
If I don't kill him by then, he's lucky I'm in Kansas City. He's lucky I'm in Kansas City, so I don't. He's not in arm's length.
My name is Jeff.
All right. Have a great day, Johnny.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Have a good week.
Make some money. Make some money this weekend. There's the card. Good. It's up. We'll retweet it. I'll retweet it. All that stuff. You can go do your bets. Scotty Fitzgerald's already got all his money down on the weekend. Absolutely. All right. Joe Bucs fan reporting that the Bucs will play week 2 in Houston on Monday Night Football.
That'll be good.
And week 3 will be the home opener. So we think the Bucs at Panthers week 1, week 2 in Houston on Monday night. Week 3 will be the home opener. Okay.
I mean,
so
we
we'll
only got
find
like
out for
7
real
hours to
tonight.
go, right?
Yeah, we'll find out for real tonight. And no, I will not be live for the schedule thing tonight because I'll be doing Tampa Sports Club. Of course, we have our big event coming up where we're going to, God, it's going to be a huge night. Tony Dungy's going to get the Lifetime Achievement Award. John Cooper going into the Tampa Sports Club Hall of Fame. Evan Longoria will be there. Dominic Sayal will be going in as well. Dave Mishkin will be going in. Dickie Vitale, who just announced he's cancer-free again. Man, he's been through it. So
serendipity, baby.
Hopefully that means he'll be there a month from now. So June 4th. Unfortunately, we are sold out. But become a member of the club. It only costs $100. Tampa Sports Club, sportscluboftampa.org is the website. So you will be able to get your tickets next year up front, and we'll have another great class going in. So honored to once again be the MC of that. So I'm looking forward to that. And Dickie V, cancer free. Can't wait to see you, baby. And we hope to get all these inductees on the show in the next 3 weeks. So that'll be fun because it's going to be an absolute celebration of Tampa Bay. It always is. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you. We didn't get to all the comments today, but thank you all for jumping in. We will be back tomorrow. Ken Erickson taking his team to his 11th softball regional. Did a great interview with him yesterday, not just about softball, but about college sports. He is incredibly entertaining. It's a great interview, and we will have that for you tomorrow on the show, along with some other shenanigans. So we'll see you then.